Hey everybody, it's Rich Formidoni from Korg. I'm here with my good friends at Kraft Music, and we're playing the KingKORG modeling synthesizer. KingKORG is a modeling synthesizer that sounds amazing. It's got a huge amount of power, and it's optimized for live performance, although it's also great in the studio and perfect for sound design. It's got a clean, easy, and fun layout that makes it a real joy to create sounds. You've got 3 individual displays, one for the main sound selection area and to display parameters, one specifically for the oscillators, and one specifically for the filters. 5 octaves means you can do things like split the keys, and you've got 2 timbres to work with 3 oscillators apiece. So that's a lot of flexibility. On the left side is our XY joystick, which will do useful things for every sound, and there's dedicated octave up and down buttons. Right in the center is a 2-line Oled display that's easy to see in any kind of light. Below that are category buttons that let you quickly get to a category of sound, and you can then dial through specific sounds in that category with the dial to the right of the screen. You can also use these buttons as favorites, so you can store your favorite sounds for immediate access, and you have 5 rows of favorite buttons to use. This is the oscillator section, the foundation of KingKORG sound. Here, for each of the 3 oscillators per timbre, you can select from 4 different types of oscillators. Using this dial as a push button, you can quickly cycle through analog, DWGS, PCM sounds, or microphone input to use the built-in vocoder, or to process using KingKORG's internal effects. For the analog waveforms, you've got some familiar waves like saw, pulse, triangle, sine, and then some noise options. But you also have dual, unison, sync, ring, cross-mod, and VPM versions of many of these sounds. Getting into the DWGS waveforms, these are single-cycle waves that you can then apply control to do things like detune. This control will do different things depending on the type of oscillator you've got selected. Here you can adjust portamento and do fine-tuning to each oscillator. This is the filter section, and a lot of KingKORG's magic lives here. In addition to its own unique filters, KingKORG can model filters from classic synths. For example, here's an MG filter. We've also got an OB filter. Here's a P5 filter. And if you crank up the resonance, many of these filters will self-oscillate. Notice how smooth the filter motion is even when you move the cutoff knob slowly. Moving on, there's even an MS-20 filter model. And it even has the characteristic squelchy tone of the MS-20 when you crank up the resonance. There's also an acid filter, which lends itself really well to bass lines automated by the built-in arpeggiator. The LFO section gives you immediate access to 2 different LFOs, one for filter and one for pitch. Note that you can freely assign these using KingKORG's virtual patch system, so you're not just limited to using the LFOs for filter or pitch. The envelopes work the same way. They're preset for filter and amp controls, and you can easily switch them on the front panel, but using the virtual patches, you can connect them modular style to any other element in the synth. Over here, there's an effects section that consists of 3 parts. There's pre-effects, which gives you things like ring modulator, amp simulations, distortion, tone control, and a decimator. Next to that is a mod effects section, and this gives you popular stomp box style effects, which are great for things like the built-in PCM sounds. Here's an electric piano. If I want a phaser, just turn the effect on by pushing that knob. I can dial up the speed and depth using knobs right below the main select dial. Finally, there's a reverb and delay section with multiple options, including a real tape echo. Next to the effects, there's a dedicated 2-band EQ. It's always active, so you don't have to worry about switching it between sounds. You can use it to tailor KingKORG to whatever venue you're playing. Then, there's a real vacuum tube. Just like on the SV1, this tube is voiced to provide anything from a warm, natural boost to a screaming overdrive. So let's take this bass sound, turn the tube on, crank up the drive, add a little boost, and make it scream. On the rear panel, you'll find the audio connections, including a microphone XLR input. There's also MIDI in and out, and a CV gate out that lets you connect KingKORG directly to a Monotribe or MS-20. There's also a USB port. Connect this to your computer, and you can access KingKORG's librarian software to exchange and import sounds. If you're a live keyboard player and you need access to great synthesizer sounds in a powerful, easy-to-use instrument, you're going to love everything that KingKORG has to offer. If you're a sound designer, you're going to love the flow of the front panel. It really makes sound design a joy. Once again, I'm Rich Formidoni from Korg. Thanks again to my friends at Kraft Music, and thank you for watching.